General Motors is also out with earnings. The company raising its full-year guidance as it bets that consumers will continue to pay top dollar for cars. Yahoo Finance's editor-at-large Brian Sozzi all over these earnings. He is with us now. Really surprising quarter out from GM, I think it's safe to say.
Yeah, I think GM was a little surprised. Maybe CFO Paul Jacobson didn't. Perhaps he wasn't as surprised as I would have thought, but I think the market likes this quarter. Of course, big earnings beat from a General Motors here. Jacobson saying the economy continues to be solid and rather favorable to General Motors, seeing solid demand was his exact quote. Also, what caught my attention, and I have this on a story on the YahooFinance.com homepage now, really ramping up its EV production, looking to double the amount of EVs General Motors is producing in the second half of this year. In the first half of this year, it sees itself producing 50,000 EVs, which is a pretty good start and ultimately dependent upon them increasing battery production. To that end, on EVs, big focus for General Motors. I asked him if General Motors has seen any impact of Tesla's price cuts.
Well, we've seen a lot of price activity, particularly in the EVs from all of our competitors and really throughout the world, but even here in the U.S. Our pricing strategies remain consistent, and we think that's the right way to go. Our consumers have spoken with the orders that they've placed for our EVs, and we're focused on meeting that demand across the board. Longer term, we obviously have to make sure that we're maintaining competitiveness on our cost structure and making sure that we can keep our margins strong through that EV transition. So we're focused, we're executing well, but our pricing, we feel very, very good about where it is based on the customer response we've seen.
And it has been interesting to see this quarter from General Motors because Tesla has been out consistently. They came out in the first quarter and cut prices. And what the market may be forgetting, General Motors and Ford are not responding by cutting the prices of their EVs or combustion gas-powered engine cars by 50%. I mean, they're not responding in that manner to what Tesla is doing. And even Tesla is not out here cutting prices by 50%. So this issue, it is always an issue, I think, in the lead up to earnings. But again, this doesn't appear to be causing broad pricing pressure through EVs and other autos that GM is selling, and I suspect you might see the same thing when Ford reports soon.
Well, they're not necessarily cutting prices, but they are saying that they're going to look to bring to market new vehicles that are below certain prices to perhaps keep customers within the GM family, talking about MSRPs below $30,000 and Trax models starting below $25,000 among this Buick Encore GX and then Envista and Chevrolet Trax and Trailblazer as well there. So even as we're looking at the battle among electric vehicle prices, too. It's interesting to see, even for some of the ICE legacy manufacturers, how they're just going to try and keep people within that family of products for the meantime, at least.
Oh, sorry, Brad. I was just waking up. I saw a picture of the Nissan Leaf. I can't think of a least exciting car than the electric Nissan Leaf. Oh, please, don't even show them this.
Someone who has a Leaf. I think they like it.
Please, don't even get me started. Please, anyway, the reality, I would also point to this, buried inside this GM release. By 2030, GM expects to start producing 20% operating margins on their services business. Now, I asked Jacobson when I saw him about a month ago around the auto show and their investor day, are they going to start charging people for heated seats? He is not ready to take it there, but I think this is a company potentially eyeing insurance, eyeing the other areas in the cockpit of the car to charge people Netflix-like services, and that could be a very lucrative revenue stream for GM.
You know what? It's funny. I'm thinking as you're talking about the Nissan Leaf. No, I mean, you're back here on set, Sauce. I got to do this for 1 second. Like, does a car need to be exciting to sell? Is a Honda Civic exciting? Is a Corolla exciting?
At these prices, perhaps they should be. At $30,000 for a car, to me, it's still expensive. That's $30,000 financed probably over 5 to 7 years at 6 or 7% a pop right now in this environment. And you're suddenly now spending, $45,000 on a car that will completely put you to sleep in your driveway? I mean, it's awful.
But nonetheless, GM is excitement to price ratio.
But I will say GM is working on some very cool cars. I like that Cadillac Lyric, very nice.
All right. Yahoo Finance's own Brian Sozzi breaking down all things GM. We'll have more on GM later on this morning. The earnings keep rolling on this morning as well. UPS saw lower volume than anticipated in Q1, blaming a deceleration in U.S. retail sales. Revenue slumped slightly as a result, and the shipping giant predicting low volume will continue in upcoming quarters thanks to tightening economic conditions. And GE's earnings were electric. The company flexed better than expected earnings, especially in its aerospace division. The orders were up by 14% year over year, and revenue increased by 25%. General Electric has raised its full-year profit outlook on the back of strong air travel demand, predicting airplane manufacturing will be a strong performer for years to come. This is the company plans to split its power and aerospace businesses into two companies, GE Aerospace and GE Vernova. The stock is up by about 53% since the beginning of this year.